Good morning students, welcome to Sri Vidya Mandir Higher Secondary School, Uttangarai. In previous class, actually in day before yesterday, we thought that pollinations, it is one of the part of reproduction flowering plants. It's a 12th chapter. And we thought what is called pollinations, then what are the types of pollinations are involved. And today we are going to discuss what are the agents that are involved in the pollinations. See, there are a lot of agents that are involved in the pollinations, means to take pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the another flower. A lot of agents that are involved in the pollinations. These are called agents of pollinations, today topic. So actually the pollination actually is affected by various agents, maybe wind or water or insect. So these are the various agents that are involved to transfer of pollen grain from one flower to the another flower, especially for cross pollinations. Among these, the insect, it is the most adapted for transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower. In majority of the angiosperms are adapted for insect pollinations. And these are the agents, wind, water and insect. These are commonly involved for pollinations. Based on their agents involving, the mode of pollinations are divided into two types. One is abiotic agent and the second one is biotic agent. So there are mainly two types of agents that are involved in the pollinations. Abiotic agents, for example, wind and water. These are called anemophily. Wind is involved in the pollination is called anemophily. Water involved, these are called hydrophily. These two are abiotic agents. Then what are the biotic agents that are involved in generally? Animal. If the animals are involved in the pollination, these are called zoophily. Then if insects are involved in the pollination, these are called entomophily. These are the various technical terms. There are two types of agents are involved. One is a abiotic agent, another one is a biotic agents. The abiotic agents are further wind. Pollinated by wind is called anemophily. Then pollinated by water is called hydrophily. These are called abiotic agents. Then what are the biotic agents? Pollinated by animals, these are called zoophily. And pollinated by insects, these are called entomophily. Among these, the most adapted pollination is biotic factors. The biotic agents are mostly involved in the pollinations, majority of the angiosperms. We will explain one by one. And the first one is wind pollinations, anemophily. Pollinated by wind is called anemophily. Such flower is said to be anemophilous flowers. Flower which are most adapted for pollinations of wind, such flower is said to be anemophilous flowers. See, in this type of pollinations actually, it is a chance event. Because the pollen grains, they may not be reach the target stigma effectively, because during their transit a lot of pollen grains are wasted. That is why the wind pollinated flowers to produce an innumerable number of pollen grains are produced. If the agents wind, they carry the lot of pollen grains or transist a lot of pollen grains from one flower to another flower. During this transit, a lot of pollen grains are wasted. Only a very meager amount of pollen grains are reaches to the a target stigma. So the pollen grains, it's uncertain to reach, whether it may be reached or may not be reached. So that is why it is a chance event. In Anemophilus pollinations, actually it's a chance event. So what are the example? What are the plants that are adapted for wind pollination? For example, grass. Grasses, a lot of grasses that are pollinated by wind. Then maize, sugarcane, coconut, bamboos. Yes, these are the certain plants, they are mostly adapted for wind pollinations. Grasses, these are the monocot, maximum grasses to produce a lot of pollen grains. All these pollen grains are minute dust-like particles and weightless. They may easily wind carried from one place to or another place or for the long distance. In grasses, to produce innumerable number of pollen grains, they are the dust-like or weightless. Maize, Ziam maize, sugarcane, saccharum. This is also involved in the wind pollinations. Then coconut and bamboos, what we commonly call vernacular name mungil. It is also involved certain example for Anemophilus plant. Then what are the characteristic features of Anemophilus flowers? How they are modified? How they are adapted for the wind pollinations. There is a characteristic features. Characteristic features of anemophily. The first, actually, flowers are produced pendulous. The flower produce pendulous inflorescence. Pendulous, spike or catkin inflorescence. Then what do you mean by pendulous inflorescence? The inflorescence actually hanging down. It is an inflorescence. Then what is called inflorescence? A group of flowerets arises on the common axis. These are called inflorescence. In pendulous sense, they are hanging downwards. In this axis, it produces many sessile flowers arranged in the racemose manner. Then what is called sessile? Without pedicel. The flowers are directly without pedicel attached to the axis, but arranged in a racemose manner. What do you mean by racemose manner? Older flowers are found at the base, young flowers at the apex. It is hanging. There's a tip. These are called pendulous. And the spike, it is nothing but a sessile flower. Sessile in the sense without pedicels. What is called pedicel? A stalk of the flower is called pedicel. A flower with pedicel is said to be pedicellate flower. Without pedicel is said to be sessile flowers. So here sessile flowers are attached on the common axis, that is called spike. In catkin inflorescence, actually, the inflorescence actually is a fleshy in which found many staminate and pistillate flowers are found. See, then how these inflorescences are adapted for wind pollination? If they are hanging downwards, the wind, a light breeze may be strike on this inflorescence, they may easily carry the pollen grains from one place to another place. That is why they are hang downwards. It is the first characteristic features. Then second, actually, perianth. It is absent. Or in case of present day, it is highly reduced. Perianth in the sense, no distinction between calyx and corolla is called perianth. Outermost wall of the flower is called calyx. The second wall of the flower is called corolla. Third wall androecium and fourth wall gynoecium. If all the four walls are present, a flower is said to be complete flower. But it is actually incomplete flower. And no, we can't easily differentiate it. It is outermost calyx, it is a first wall, second wall. We can't easily differentiate it. Such condition is called perianth. If the perianth is present, what will happen? in some of the plant, they are highly colored. The perianth is highly colored. These are called petaloid perianth. If the color is present to attract the insect or pollinations, it is a characteristic features of actually in some other insect pollinations. But here, no necessity of producing any color in wind pollination. That is why if the perianth is absent. If the perianth is present, it is highly colored. So to avoid, there is no essential for color here. So that is why the perianth is absent. In case of present, they are highly very much reduced. It is a secondary characteristic of a anemophilous flower. And the third one is actually flowers are small, inconspicuous, colorless, nectarless. So these are the second characteristic features. The flowers are actually very small in size and it's not clearly visible. That is called inconspicuous. It's not clearly visible. Colorless. There is no any attractive color. Is not essential to attract the wind. Is not essential. And nectarless. Nectar is nothing but a sweet liquids. It is a characteristic features of insect pollinations. But here there is no any nectars are secreted in the flowers. These are the third characteristic features of wind pollinating flowers. Then fourth one is actually it produces innumerable number of anthers. Large number of anther. If the anthers are large in number, it is a male sex organ to produce a large number of pollen grains. So pollen grains also large in number. Because during their transit from one flower to another flower, a lot of pollen grains are wasted. It's not possible all the flowers are to reach a target stigma. It's not possible. So that is why it produces large number of anthers and pollen grains. The filaments also long filament, but versatile type. Versatile. What do you mean by versatile? It is an anther. It is an anther. They are bilobed anther. That's called dithecus. The stigma attached to the anther at the back side slightly. It is a filament, tip of the filament fixed to the back side of the anther, dorsal side, slightly attached. These anthers are swing in the air, swing. If the winds are strike on this anther, they easily plug out, it carried for the long distance. So these are called versatile type of anthers are produced in wind pollinated flowers. Then another one is pollen grains are very small, smaller in size, dry weight, lightweight and dry conditions, because they easily carried by the wind for the long distance. It's a weightless, lightweight and a dry condition pollen grains, and the pollen grains are very minute pollen grains are produced this group of plants actually. Then last another one is some plants actually anthers are burst violently to liberate the pollen grains into the air. For example, Artica. In Artica plants, anthers are suddenly and burst with a sound violently to liberate the pollen grains to the air. So the wind they may easily carry it. So these are the characteristic features of anemophilous flowers. One is the flowers produce a pendulous type of inflorescence. They are hanging downwards, they may easily carry it. Second one is the perianth is absent. In case of present, it is highly reduced. Then flowers are small and inconspicuous. We could not clearly visible. Inconspicuous, colorless, nectarless, are also odorless. And a large number of anthers are produced with a large number of pollen grains also produced. The anthers are versatile types. Next, the pollen grains are very, very minute and weightless and also called dry. And in some plant, for example, Attica, anthers are burst violently to liberate the pollen grains. How pollination takes place in maize? Maize actually it is a wind pollinating plant. Its binomial name is Siam maize. Actually, maize, what are the characteristics of maize? It is a monoecious plant. And both male and female flowers are present on the same plant. These are called monoecious. And unisexual flowers. Unisexual, there are two types of unisexual. One is a staminate flower, another one is a pistillate flower. Staminate in the sense male flower, pistillates nothing but female flowers. See, if you understand, if you take the diagram, it is a plant. It is axis. It is a leaf. The tip, it is an inflorescence. There are two types of inflorescence. A male inflorescence, it is also called tassel. It is a male inflorescence. It is also called tassel. The tassel inflorescences are found at the tip of the plant. These are called terminal inflorescence, nothing but a male inflorescence. And the female inflorescence produced laterally. It is a female inflorescence. It is a female inflorescence. The female inflorescence, it is nothing but cob, or also called air. It is a female inflorescence. So the male inflorescence are found at the tip of the plant is called terminal inflorescence is male, and a female inflorescence is nothing but a cob or also called ear inflorescence arises at the lateral sides. See, the male inflorescence to produce a male, pollen grains, female to produce ovum. So how the pollination takes place is the stigma. How the pollination takes place? The pollen grains of maize actually it is a large and heavy. It cannot carried by the light breeze. So a mild wind can shaking of this male inflorescence. As a result, the pollen grains are liberated. Pollen grains are liberated. It is fall down vertically to reach the stigma of the female inflorescence. It is a stigma. So in female inflorescence, cob inflorescence actually, stigma, it is a long stigma. It can be measured, yes, it is a long stigma. It can be measured actually 23 centimeters in length. It's a plant, female, it is a stigma. The stigma actually very long. These are called, look like a silky thread like suches. That is called silky stigma. It is very length stigma. They are measured in 23 centimeters in length actually. See, if the pollens are dropped from the upper part of the inflorescence called male inflorescence are dropped from the male inflorescence and it is caught by a stigma of the female inflorescence, it is effective for pollination. In this way, pollination takes place in maize. As a result of pollination, fertilization takes place. As a result of fertilization, formation of fruits. Yes, these are the pollinations, how pollinations takes place in maize. Another abiotic agents, water, hydrophily. Second one is hydrophily. It's nothing but pollinated by water is called hydrophily. So the pollination takes place through water is called hydrophily. Such flower is said to be hydrophilous flowers. Hydrophilous flower. For example, for hydrophilous, Vallisneria, then hydrilla, then lotus. A lot of plants have been reported for hydrophily. These are the common examples for Vallisneria, hydrilla, lotus have been reported for water pollinating plants. Then majority of the hydrophytic plants actually pollinated by wind as well as insect also, but very minute. Only a few plants of hydrophytic plants are pollinated by waters. If take for example in Eichhornia, it is also called water hyacinth. What we call in vernacular name Agaya Tamarai, Eichhornia. Then Pistia, Eichhornia and water lily. In this type of plants, pollination takes place either wind or by insect. Actually, it is aquatic plants, but pollination takes place by wind or also insect. See, in all the maximum all the hydrophytic plants, the pollen grains actually covered with a mucilaginous covering or layer is present. Then what is the purpose of mucilaginous covering is present around the pollen grains? To protect the pollen grains from moisture, or also called wet condition. That is why in most of the hydrophytic plants the pollen grains are covered with a mucilaginous covering is present. It protects the pollen grains. So there are two types of hydrophytes. One is epihydrophytes. Then hypohydrophytes. The word epi means above, hypo means below. I mean pollination takes place above the water level, or water level, I mean surface of the waters. Pollination takes place in the surface of the waters. These are called epihydrophily. Pollination takes place in under the water. These are called hypohydrophily. If take for example of epihydrophily, Vallisneria spiralis. Another one is Elodia. These are the example for epihydrophily. Pollination takes place in the surface of the waters. Then hypohydrophily, pollination takes place within the water or under the water. These are called hypohydrophily. For example, Zoostera marina. These are the example for hypohydrophily. There are another one example, Ceratophyllum. So these are the common plants that are involved in the hypohydrophily. So now to discuss how the pollination takes place in Vallisneria spiralis. Pollination in Vallisneria spiralis. In Vallisneria, it is a epihydrophily. Then what are the characteristic features of Vallisneria? How the pollination takes place in surface of the waters, how they are modified. Generally, it is a dioecious plant. Dioecious in the sense both male and female plants are get separated. The dioecious male and female plant separated. Dioecious, then actually it is a submerged rooted hydrophytes. Submerged, then rooted hydrophytes. Submerged in the sense they are completely immersed under the water, but the roots are fixed at their mud. These are called submerged rooted hydrophytes. For understand, if you take the diagram, it is a water level. It's a plant. It is a female plant. It is a male plant. The roots are fixed at their mud. It is a root fixed at their mud, but the leaves are look like a ribbon shaped leaves. It is a male plant. The male plant to produce a male inflorescence. This is a male flower. Female flower to produce a female inflorescence. The stalk of the female flower actually coil like such as. So it is a female flower. It is a male flower. Both the plants are get separated. These are called dioecious plant. During at the time of pollination, actually, the female flowers, the coil stalk of the inflorescence is called pedicel. The pedicels actually it become uncoiled. It bring the female flowers to the surface of the water bodies. Then a small cup-shaped depression is formed around the female flowers. It's a depression. A small disc or cup-shaped depression is formed around the female flowers in the surface of the waters, and the male flowers to produce male flowers, it gets it reaches the maturity, it gets detached from the male flowers. All the male flowers are bring in the surface of the water bodies, they gets floating. Due to water current, it push the male flowers towards the female flowers. All the male flowers actually it move towards the stigma of the female flowers. If they reaches the stigma, they gets pollinations. For this purpose, first of all, the male flowers are get settled in the depressions, and then finally reaches the very close to the stigma of the female flowers, effect for pollinations. After pollinations, the stalk of the female flowers actually is highly coiled portions. During pollination, it become uncoiled. It bring up at the surface of the water bodies. After pollinations, actually, the stalk of the female flowers it become coiled to bring the female flowers under the water where the fertilization takes place. So this is in this way the pollinations are takes place in Vallisneria spiralis. And once again I would remember, in Vallisneria actually it is aquatic plant, it is a dioecious plant. Both male and female plant are get separated. Male plant to produce male flowers. After maturations, all the male flowers are bring at the water levels, and the female flowers to produce female flowers, and the stalk of the female flowers actually it is highly coiled portions. As a result of pollination, fertilization actually takes place within the water bodies, but pollination takes place in the surface of the water bodies. Biotic agent, they may be zoophily, pollinations by animals is called zoophily. A lot of animals that are involved in the pollination, such flower is said to be zoophilous flowers. So the animals that are bring about pollinations, it may be birds, bat, snail, then insect. See, these are the animals, they are frequently involved for the pollinations. The birds pollinations, they are said to be ornithophily. It's a technical term. Pollination by birds, they are said to be ornithophily. Pollination by bats, they are said to be chiropterophily. Chiropterophily. Pollination by snail, they are said to be malacophily. Pollinations by insect are said to be entomophily. Among these biotic factors, the maximum pollinations are takes place by insect. For that purpose, majority of the angiosperms are they are well adapted for insect pollination. It is one of the most cheap pollinating agents. It is insect. So what are the insects that are involved in the pollinations? It may be beetles, then moth. Certain moths also involved in pollinations. Third, bees, honeybees. Then fourth one is butterflies. Then ant also involved in pollinations. These are all comes under the category of insect. The pollination by beetle, they are said to be canthrophily. Pollination by moth, they are said to be, and bees, butterflies, moth are said to be palinophily. Pollination by bees, they are said to be melatophily. Pollination by butterflies, they are said to be psychophily. Pollination by ant, they are said to be myrmecophily. So these are the various type of insects that are involved in the pollinations. Among these, most of the plants are maximum angiosperms are well adapted for insect pollination, such as beetles, moth, bees, honeybees, butterfly, ant. Certain flies also involved in this pollinations. Once again, pollination by birds, they are said to be, what are the technical term we want to be used, that is called ornithophily. By bat, is called Chiropterophily. By snails are said to be Malacophily. Insects are generally said to be Entomophily. There are a lot of insects. It may be beetle, pollination by beetle, that is said to be Canthrophily. And moth, there are certain moths also involved. For example, yucca plant. The yucca plant actually is pollinated by a moth. They are said to be Palinophily. And bees, honeybees, Melatophily. Butterflies, Psychophily. Ant, they are said to be Myrmecophiles. I will explain one by one. If you take first one is Ornithophily, then what is called Ornithophily? Pollinated by birds. Ornithophily. Such flower is said to be Ornithophilus. And some plants are well adapted for bird pollinations. For example, Erythrina. Erythrina. Then Bombax. Then Syzygium. Bignonia. Sterligia. These are the plants are well adapted for pollinations by birds. Erythrina, in vernacular name Kalyanam Murungai. Erythrina. Bombax, commonly called, it is a silk cotton. Silk cotton. Bombax. In vernacular, Yellow-Manji. Vernacular name. Then Syzygium, Bignonia, Sterligia, these are the plants adapted for bird pollination. And what are the birds that are involved in pollinations? For example, hummingbirds. Hummingbirds. Then sunbird. Sunbirds. Then honey eaters. It is also have been reported for birds that are effectively involved in the pollinations. Certain animals also involve, large sized animals, for example, lemur. The lemur actually, it is an arboreal animals. They are maximum found in the Madagascar highland. Lemur. Arboreal animals, in the sense they are living in the trees. The animals, those that are living in the trees, they are said to be arboreals. In lemur, with a pointed snout is present, especially found in the Madagascar highland. Lemur, it is also have been reported for pollinations. Then arboreal certain rodents. Arboreal rodent. Then certain reptiles, for example, garden lizards. Garden lizards and gigot lizards. It is also have been reported it's a pollinators. Animals, for example, lemur, it is arboreal life. And arboreal rodents, certain animals also, they are living in the trees. These are called arboreal rodents. Certain reptiles also involved, for example, garden lizards and gigot lizards. These are the animals have been reported in pollinations. These are called zoophiles.